As Leviticus commands us, you may not stand idly by when your neighbor's blood is being shed. For too long, the federal government has been forced to fight this injustice with one hand tied behind its back. We know that some crimes are motivated by a desire to harm whole communities, and it's time that those crimes were punished in a manner that is equal to their destructiveness. The President has threatened to veto this legislation if it comes to his desk, but I urge my fellow senators to display the same kind of courage that came from David Richardson, the victim of a brutal hate crime that scarred him both physically and mentally. Rather than living in fear, David bravely came before the House Judiciary Committee and courageously described the horrific attack against him the year before. We should fight to protect the rights of our fellow citizens such as David, and not let a veto threat stop us from doing the right thing. With both the Senate and the House moving forward on this legislation, I hope that the President will hear our call and that he too will support this much-needed measure. Nobel Prize laureate Elie Wiesel said, "Indifference is always the friend of the enemy. Indifference is always the friend of the enemy, for it benefits the aggressor, never the victim, whose pain is magnified when he or she is forgotten." Today, we can take a strong stand against indifference and intolerance. Dr. King reminded us all that our lives begin to end the day we become silent against the things that matter. Today, this body has the chance to break the silence. It has a chance to speak with one voice in support of the value of every individual in our society. Join me and my colleagues in breaking the silence. Make the fight to end violence driven by bigotry the high national priority that it should be. Now is the time, because as Reverend Martin Luther King reminded us, the time is always right to do what is right. Now is the time for Congress to speak with one voice and insist that all Americans will be guaranteed the equal protections of the law. I urge all my colleagues to support this amendment.